डबल द लेवल्स इन 2017, जहाँ पे हम शायद 6-7% हमारे इंटरेस्ट रेट होते थे, अब हम 13.25% पे होते हैं. बट एक कम्युनिटी हमारी जो एक्सेसिवली पैनिक करती है व्हेन इंटरेस्ट रेट्स गो अप विदाउट रियलाइजिंग दैट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को नॉमिनल टर्म्स में नहीं देखना चाहिए बट इन रियल टर्म्स देखना चाहिए. सो द रियल इंटरेस्ट रेट्स आर, अगर आप स्टेट बैंक की फोरकास्ट पढ़ें, अभी लेटेस्ट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट में जो उन्होंने दिया है, इट्स गोइंग टू बी 11 to 12%. ये मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट में फोरकास्ट दिया है दैट आवर इन्फ्लेशन could hit 11 to 12%. So 13.25 minus 11 to 12% will give you the real rates. और अगर आप 2017 में रियल रेट्स देखें तो उस वक्त हमारे रियल इंटरेस्ट रेट्स आई एम श्योर पॉजिटिव होंगे. तो हमें हमेशा पॉजिटिव रियल इंटरेस्ट रेट्स की तरफ देखना चाहिए. और हमारी कंपनीज रिग्रेटेबली अपनी फोरकास्ट नॉमिनल पे करती हैं बिजनेसेस की, नॉट ऑन रियल इंटरेस्ट रेट्स. अगर वो ये कर लें और अगर वो अच्छी टैक्स रिजीम के साथ कर लें तो बिजनेसेस में नुकसान नहीं होगा, बिकॉज यू विल ऑलवेज फैक्टर इन ऑल दीज थिंग्स. अब नाउ मार्केट एक्सपेक्टेशंस कह रही हैं कि शायद इन्फ्लेशन विल गो अप फर्दर एंड कुड hit anywhere around 18%. It's not unthinkable क्योंकि Pakistan has faced 25% inflation rates, and there are countries in our neighborhood that have also hit these kind of things. So we will have to make adjustments in our monetary policy as and when required. Second item, exchange rate depreciation को समझाना है. देखिए, exchange rate flexible था पाकिस्तान में. In fact, I used to advocate exchange rate flexibility, but of course we had some political crisis, so we had to intervene in the markets. But it's very costly to intervene in the exchange rate. As Abid mentioned, you could lose your shirt virtually, and I can tell you it's happened in Brazil and other countries, and we have faced it now. When I was the governor, when I was the finance minister, तो मैंने एक्चुअली सेंट्रल बैंक को मशवरा दिया कि आप प्लीज़ एक्सचेंज रेट को डिप्रिशिएट करें, बिकॉज यू आर मेकिंग इम्पोर्ट्स मोर चीपर एंड मेकिंग योर एक्सपोर्ट्स मोर एक्सपेंसिव. तो ये तो बिल्कुल ही गलत तरीका है इकोनॉमी को चलाने का. सो एक्सचेंज रेट को फिक्स रखना आर्टिफिशियली बड़ा नुकसानदेह होता है, बिकॉज एक तो आप इंटरवीन डायरेक्टली कर रहे होते हैं, और जब आपके पास नहीं होते मार्केट में एक्सचेंज नहीं होती, तो फिर आप एक किताब खोल देते हैं अपनी जिसमें आप स्वैप बुक करते हैं, जो कि बैलेंस शीट स्टेट बैंक की को और वीकन कर देता है. तो एक्सचेंज रेट को फिक्स रखने में भी नुकसानात हैं, IMF और नो IMF. ये मैं आपको एज अ पाकिस्तानी बता रही हूँ कि इसमें नुकसान है हमारा. नाउ इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर को कंटेन करने के लिए इससे और कोई ब्रूटल इंस्ट्रूमेंट नहीं है कि आप एक इंटरेस्ट रेट और एक्सचेंज रेट को लगाएं. लेकिन जहाँ पे मेरी डिसएग्रीमेंट्स आती हैं वो ये है कि एक तो हम रियल सेक्टर की तरफ ध्यान नहीं देते, एंड दैट्स वेयर IMF of course comes halfway through. And because I used to be in the World Bank, we used to always criticize the IMF, and Teresa is smiling, she knows the bigger debates we used to have. Because, you know, inflationary pressures are being aggravated because of this investment saving and current account, ये जो complicated चीज़ें मैंने आपको उर्दू में भी समझाई हैं. लेकिन there is also speculations in the market that goes on, so there's a lot of price manipulation that hits the poor people the most. अमीर लोग तो फिर भी अफोर्ड कर लेते हैं higher prices. So it is very important कि we should go beyond demand management to spur growth with immediate effect. अब ना जो सबसे बड़ा हमें चैलेंज होता है इकोनॉमीज़ को, और पाकिस्तान को सिर्फ नहीं, वो ये होता है कि मल्टीलैटरल डेवलपमेंट बैंक्स वेट till there is macroeconomic stability before they step in to help in removing the structural distortions of the economy. तो वो कहते हैं हम टैक्स की भी असिस्टेंस आपको तब देंगे जबकि आप ये कड़वी गोली खा ले, हम आपको स्टेट ओन एंटरप्राइजेस के रिफॉर्म में भी सपोर्ट तब करेंगे जब आप ये चीज़ें कर लेंगे. सो ऑब्वियसली ये चीज़ें बहुत सीक्वेंसिंग और कैलिब्रेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है. So, okay, let me move on now because I'd like to listen to Shabbar before I take off. So, where are we today? Entering first year of stabilization package. We have entered into it. But as I said, the economy has already shouldered few rounds of pre-IMF stabilization. And that was homegrown. ठीक है? Consultation चल रही थी IMF के साथ, लेकिन they had no writ over us because they were not giving us the money. We were in post-program monitoring or whatever it may be called. So we undertook demand management before the new government took over, and some of the demand management has taken place after it has come into office. So besides other factors, there has been substantial delay in reaching IMF agreement, which has costed us quite a bit. It's compounded economic uncertainty. और ये मैं आपको बता दूं कि अभी आपको बताया था इन्होंने कि मैं UNESCAP में थी. हमने एक स्टडी की थी ड्यूरिंग ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस दैट इफ यू हैव प्रोट्रैक्टेड क्राइसिस you generate and you don't address that crisis, it generates uncertainty, and uncertainty chops off economic growth in a significant manner. And there is empirical evidence that we had provided to our member states. Now, होता ये है कि इकोनॉमिक अनसर्टनिटी इसलिए भी कंपाउंड हो जाती है बिकॉज हम डिले कर देते हैं रैशनलाइजेशन को, और जो इम्पेंडिंग स्ट्रक्चरल इनएफिशिएंसीज को एड्रेस करने के लिए हमें मेजर्स करने होते हैं उनको भी हम डिले कर देते हैं. इसलिए द इकोनॉमी मूव्स ऑन डिस्टॉर्टेड सिग्नलिंग सिस्टम एंड इंसेंटिव रिजीम्स. और इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में एक इकोनॉमिक सर्वे हुआ है जो IBA और स्टेट बैंक ने मिलकर किया है, इट्स बिजनेस कॉन्फिडेंस सर्वे, और उसमें ये एलिमेंट की कॉन्फर्मेशन भी आई है. I'm sitting in Karachi where bulk of the businesses are there. The investor confidence has gradually eroded quite significantly. और बेहतर ये होता है कि आप सारे measures लेके एक मार्केट को बता दें कि ये प्राइस रिजीम है आपकी और इस पे आपने ऑपरेट करना है. जितना जल्दी आप करेंगे उतना फ़ायदा होगा. Now, few comments are in order. Thus far, the government has managed to anchor bulk of adjustment on external side, as current account fell by almost 30%, but it is primarily driven by import compression, some improvement in remittances, and some improvement in volume of exports, but in value terms, exports levels are disappointing. So is this compression of current accounts sustainable? No. Unless you push for export growth, it will be very difficult to achieve this. This is not a criticism on anybody, but this is a fact of matter of economics, how economics works. Or investor confidence बढ़ाना and making sure export regimes are being supported in an effective manner is quite critical. Second point, reserve build-up. So we are all rushing to build up, to get money. We get money from here, we get money from here. So reserve build-up is, of course, undermined also by the external debt, which is being accumulated, and FX requirements. And a lot of this is short-term, and some of it is adding to the short-term maturity, जो कि हमारी already काफ़ी skewed है. Of course, interest rates are decent because whether it's bilateral or it's fund, it's definitely competitive resources. As of 12th July 2019, State Bank FX reserve despite 10 billion inflows, remains 8 billion, which is 8 billion, which is where remains 8 billion, sorry, let me repeat it. State Bank FX reserves, despite 10 billion inflows, remains 8 billion at the end of, which is lower than what it was at the end of June 2018, which is where I signed off. So IMF has to support us further, and one of my biggest regrets is that if we had actually negotiated the IMF program early on, and if we were supported by the fund in an adequate money terms, then we would probably have been in a safer zone, because attracting 6 billion after taking such a heavy dose of demand management isn't going to serve us very well. Let me be very candid with the IMF. If I was negotiating, I would have sought for a larger amount of the fund for the same price of conditionalities. Okay, now the last point, fiscal side of adjustment. As an old-time governor of central bank, I have always complained to the IMF that they focus too much on the monetary side. They don't focus as much on the fiscal side. So I'm glad, but fiscal side adjustment lags external adjustment as of now. But if you look at the features of the program, this time there's some interesting features on the fiscal policy, which Teresa has already talked about, so I'm not going to repeat those. But what is regrettable is that the fiscal deficit has shot up to over 7.3% of GDP. So the level of effort on the current account, external current account, is better than the level of effort on the fiscal side. And this has been achieved despite amnesty scheme, not this one, but the previous one, and despite compression and cutback on the public investment. So I think this is quite serious in my view, although there will be corrective actions that would be taken on the fiscal deficit side. So the last few words, my concern also is that we haven't really got probably the right base year, because the base year has moved while we have been negotiating the fund program, because some of the numbers that we have talked about, some are preliminary and some will be further adjusted. But whenever fund program does its quarterly review, it will be looking at the base. But इससे ये चीज़ें move करेंगी, ये static नहीं रहेंगी. If the base improves, then fund will accordingly adjust. So I think I wanted to say that IMF policy simulations are not static, they're dynamic, they're going to move on. So I hope that we don't deteriorate our position, but we improve it so that this dynamism helps us. Growth scenario, of course, varies a lot. IMF कहती है कि GDP growth will be 2.4% for 2020, और स्टेट बैंक ने अभी जो फिगर्स दी हैं for 2020, it's about 3.5 or 3.3%, I forget what it was, but it's in that range. So I think the government and the IMF and State Bank need to get together. There's no harm in having differences of view, but we need to figure out where are we going, because growth matters a lot. Why does it matter? It's critical for people like us. We need to have inflation down. If growth happens, inflation will also come down. And it's critical for economic and social stability. But GDP figure also impacts our policy projections. So, अगर GDP का number बहुत high है, तो revenues भी high हो जाएंगे, लेकिन GDP is used as a denominator. So it will adjust all these ratios also. Fiscal projections in IMF, in my view, not the government's, are not backed as yet by any major emerging expenditure restructuring of a very substantive kind. And targets for revenue collections are being contested by all commentators, although I 100% agree with Shabbar. Base year fiscal year 19 budget outcome reflects the complexities and stubbornness of economy's public sector. In preceding year, primary deficit, despite the amnesty proceeds, increase in the personal income threshold, which has now been brought down, increase in income threshold, rise in utility prices, petroleum, and so on and so forth, and compression in public investment. Tax revenues fell below 13%, which was equivalent to about 1.4% of GDP. So कोई चीज़, everything is interrelated. ये नहीं होता कि आप isolatedly एक चीज़ करें और सोचें कि जी मैंने तो ये कर लिया तो ये खुद ही ठीक हो जाएगा. You have to look at an integrated picture, and that's why the conceptual piece that the IMF brings with a beautiful debt sustainability analysis, जहाँ हमने अपना काफ़ी नुकसान किया है, is actually the starting point. अगर आप debt sustainability analysis देखें, तो if you are going at 80% of GDP, we are violating our own federal debt limitation act. Forget about the IMF for a minute. तो इल्ज़ाम देना IMF को मुनासिब नहीं है, because ये तो we are violating our own parliamentary legislation. और स्टेट ओन एंटरप्राइजेस का फैसला करना, प्राइवेटाइज करना है, रिस्ट्रक्चर करना है, we need to do this because we are losing money, and she's already talked about the circular debt. So let me just conclude by saying that undoubtedly the program is very ambitious. I can tell you that arithmetically and from a policy simulation point of view, it is a consistent program, but we just cannot get to growth simply by tightening macroeconomics itself. It lays the framework and ground for it, but we have to do a lot of work. Principle one would be to generate domestic resources, to generate more export revenues, and to make sure we contain wasteful spending. And I was very pleased to see that the fund has a paragraph on public-private partnership. I believe that development expenditure should be out of the government. It should only support social expenditure, because we have a lot of waste that takes place in development expenditure, and then we should leverage private investment to undertake, through the public-private partnership, to undertake infrastructure development or other types of activities that we need to support. So thank you for inviting me, Abid, and thank you for being all here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamshad Sahaba. And let me put on record that in whatever role she was always kind enough कि STPI और थिंकिंग कम्युनिटी ने जब भी इन्हें बुलाया है, ये हमेशा टाइम निकाला, एंड शी ज्वाइंड सच गैदरिंग्स टू शेयर हर व्यूज़ एंड ऑफ कोर्स टू एंटर इनटू डायलॉग. और इसी तरह के एक
maybe 20, 30 groups. But I am very pleased that here is the forum where I can actually explain what we want to say, because this is one of the few very educated people we are talking to. And it will be easier for us to explain what is in our mind, and I will limit myself to taxation aspect, where we are standing, what is our plan, how IMF is assisting us, what are the cohesion between the two bodies and two institutions, Government of Pakistan and IMF. Let me just on a lighter side, Madam Shamshad has said in Pakistan the saving rate has gone down, and I agree with it that in Pakistan the saving rate has gone down. But Madam, what the Pakistanis have saved outside Pakistan, they have not gone down. And and because I am saying it, because I all my life I have been an accountant, you have been dealing with me, and I can vouch how much we have saved, and I support legally, within the norms of the law, within the norms of Pakistan legislations, outside Pakistan. And so that's a very tragic part of it, and that's not my subject here, and that is one of the reasons why we are facing the situation like this. The second reason is also, you said a very interesting remark, and I also go by that the business confidence level has eroded and is going down. I was talking to the Karachi Overseas Chamber of Commerce, Overseas Chambers of Commerce, Karachi. They said to me a very interesting thing, and it's a thing to listen and to think, to ponder about, that what's the problem in Pakistan is. A very large multinational, and the multinationals all there who were there, they said to me, please don't be too tough on the cash economy, because they are our main buyers. Because if you be too tough on the cash economy, then our buying level will go down. So we have we have inherited a very strange. We are standing in a very strange, I would say, crossroad, where we are faced with multiple challenges, but at the same time multiple, I would say, multiple opportunities also. Before I go into the particular issue of the taxation and what we have done in this regime, I would just like to say that about this sense of hopelessness and the bad position of the Pakistan business, and things are not moving in the right direction, and things are not working in the proper direction in Pakistan. Yes, we Pakistanis are 22 million people, maybe 25, whatever the number is. But out of that, some number, maybe 20 million people are doing very well. And I was just reading the report of the consumerism in Pakistan made by A.C. Nelson. And I was just related to another real fact. When I joined A.F. Ferguson and Company as a senior partner in 2014, we decided that we should study that whether our clients are making money, or whether our clients are not making money, whether there is profitability in our client's business, or there is not profitability in our client's business, and what should be our strategy to run our firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers or Ferguson in Pakistan at that time. And it was shocking to us that we realized that all of our clients were making a profit per year increase of 25%. All of them. And we had banks where the chief executive salary was 25 million rupees per annum, 250 million rupees per annum. So the unfortunate part is that Pakistan is good for some people and Pakistan is good for some people, bad for some people. It's very good for some people. But we have to try to make it good for everyone, every Pakistani. That should be our aim, which we have not achieved. The second very important thing which I want to convey and which I have seen, that I have been the student of economics, being professionally an accountant. This story of what I always call premature deindustrialization of Pakistan and converting Pakistan into almost a trading state, it started in 1992. In 1990, we started a very good program of deregulation in 1990. That's a good program. We should deregulate things. We should deregulate banks. We should deregulate all this, right? And everything was done in a right intention, I would say. But if you go deep down into that, the results of that, how it was managed, that Pakistan became a trading state rather than a semi-manufacturing state. We are importing mineral water, we are importing chocolates, we are importing shoes, we are importing everything, and our industries are going down. Our employment level is going down. So when we sit down and decide that what is the position of the Pakistan economy as a whole, just from 1992 to 2018, we were running in a paradigm where we ended up in June 30th, 2018 with the import of $61 billion and export of $20 billion only. This was the reality, ground reality on 30th June 2018. And no country can survive with this kind of paradigm. And we were very happy, as a tax collector, we were very happy. We were collecting all taxes at import stage. Very happy. We were all collecting at the import stage. By bulk of the taxes are collected at the import stage. In reality, at time we collect around 40% of our taxes at the import stage. Although it's not a tax collection, but we collect all our taxes at import stage. So we are being actually running like a trading state. And my personal view is that our country of 220 million people cannot run as a trading state, and this policy which we adopted was not a very, in my personal view, was not a very right policy. We have never thought about the import substitution. If I examine my FTAs with some of the countries, they are very, very dangerous. They are not very favorable to Pakistan own industry. So we ended up in this thing. That was the other side of the picture. Then we coincided two things with that. One thing which we coincided with from 1992, 1990s, that was called presumptive tax regime. Means whatever is considered as import stage is final tax liability. Whatever is directed at the supplies, final tax liability. Whatever is directed at the rent is final tax liability. So you actually divorce the economy taxation from the economy, actually, technically speaking. The economy, the real income was never taxed. We actually mandated that the real income is not taxed in Pakistan. So it actually, if you look at the deep down into the history of Pakistan, and I would like institute like SPTI to actually study that what is the actual incidence of direct and indirect taxation in Pakistan. Real direct and indirect taxation in Pakistan, and you will find that the real direct taxation in Pakistan is very, very less. It is all indirect taxes. And then we made another very interesting thing. That we said that whatever you bring in Pakistan to improve remittances, no question will be asked. And then we added another thing on that, no question will be asked, and we opened the exchange companies and Hawala and Hundi in a manner that you start rolling the money like this. And we can show you and discuss with you how that those three regimes actually crippled everything we are facing now. Then multiplied by that, we have a very strange, I would say very strange and very I would say, very open-ended transit agreement with Afghanistan. Notwithstanding the war, we have a very, I would say, easy system of transit trade with Afghanistan. So it becomes very difficult for me, for anyone in the FBR, anyone in the FBR, to actually control the abuse of the Afghan transit trade as to the Pakistan market is concerned. So all these things ended up, and obviously the inefficiencies in our government, that's another part of it. We ended up in a culture that the real income taxation, the real taxation became almost an exception. And I will just share you some of the figures, and you will be shocked to listen that figures. That the real taxation become not a norm, is an exception in this country. If you whenever not now, but whenever this year budget of 2019, this is the first budget technically speaking of this government. When this will be analysed and maybe not sending the revenue collection, inshallah we will make it as best as possible. It will be seen that this is a complete change in the paradigm we have been working in the past. And I am very pleased to announce you that the government and IMF and the executives are all on the one page on certain matters. We are completely on one page. We are on one page on one primary concern, that the real income has to be taxed. There is no second view on that. We are all on this one page that we should promote documentation of the economy, and we should not let the documentation of economy the concept of documentation of economy be compromised on lame excuses of harassment and things like that, and the officer is very bad, and so I would not register a thing like that. I will explain that this is not unreal, it's a reality, but we will not compromise on that. And I will just take a few minutes on those two things. For example, in this budget, we have provided a very small. All of us Pakistanis, you are all Pakistanis. We have all been saying and advocating strongly that the CNIC should be NTN. Now we have just put in one small condition about CNIC, and then the whole country is against CNIC. So this you can understand the psyche of this country. That we have made a very, very small correction, that if you buy more than 50,000 rupees, then you please give your CNIC, and the whole country say we are at hold, we will not give you CNIC. You know, this shows this is the mindset of not the common Pakistani. It is the mindset of the people who have lived too long in a tax-free environment. Now it's getting very difficult for them to come into the rope. If we were analyzing what is the resistance against this CNIC. If I buy 50,000 rupees plus, and somebody asks me what is your CNIC, what is my problem? My problem is very simple, because I don't have the source of income. Because somebody will ask me from where you got this money, and if I go to CNIC, he will go back and identify me. So the problem is very genuine. Nobody somebody excuses that पढ़ा लिखे नहीं है जी, their education level is very low, and this, and I said to them, all of them, and I think the Prime Minister also said that even in Pakistan में फकीर के पास भी CNIT है, CNIC तो फकीर के पास भी है. So what is the resistance against this CNIC? That when you buy a 50,000 plus, in India it is called TIN, tax identification number. In America, your social security number, and things like that. It's a common thing. But you know, you can see the resistance and the hartals and this and that against the CNIC. So this shows the mentality of the the people here is that, and we know who are those sectors who are under this mentality. The second thing we have done is that in Pakistan we used to say that this sector is export oriented and this sector should not be taxed. For example, textile. We agree export should not be taxed. We agree with this. There is no second view on that. But local textiles should be taxed. And you know, when we start discussing that the local textiles should be taxed, then you can imagine what is happening in what kind of the pressure we have faced for the last 15 days now. Today is 19th of July. But let me assure you, notwithstanding what the IMF conditionalities are, we as a government and the Prime Minister and we are very clear that IMF, no IMF and whatever it is, but we as a country agree what they are saying. What their prescription and our conclusion are not different. Are not different. We are on the same page. That local export industry should be taxed. Yes, there can be issues on the mechanism of taxation. There can be issues on the mechanism of the refunds. But what is the resistance? Where is the problem? Now this is what I want, that and I thank the masses of Pakistan, I would say, and I would thank the general educated people of Pakistan that they withstood with us, and in the 19 days we have subsided the pressure we were facing since the budget has been announced. And you know, the businessman is so well informed that about the export-oriented sector. We were having meeting with the exporter before the budget was announced. They say this will happen. So they were more informed than us. they were more informed. I think whenever they used to they mess up with me too much, then I say, you go to talk to Teresa. And then they used to go to Teresa and say, what is happening? So what I am saying, that the question, what I am trying to explain, that the question here is that that we have lured the things too much in the past, that it is getting very difficult for this transition. It's a transition. From here to here is a transition. I was yesterday, I went to buy a book in a shopping center, and the gatekeeper said, "Sir, I am very happy you are against the people who are making money and not paying taxes." You know, the fortunate part is that in the last 19 days, would you believe that I had meetings with 13-14 delegation every day, and 3 to 5 delegation of 15 people are sitting in our office that do away with this, do away with this, do away with this, do away with this, because they are not ready. They are not ready with the system. But the question is not the question of the two economists have already dealt with you. It is not the question of program and another matter. It is a question of the survival of the country. Because I look at taxation. I look at taxation as the only way. As the only way of the equitable distribution of wealth. I look at taxation not as a taxation measure, as in a society. In a society, the only way to have an equitable distribution of wealth is taxation. It is not money for the government. Money for the government is the second part of it. How you can create an equitable society unless you have an equitable distribution of by way of taxes. This is the only way. And people don't understand taxes in Pakistan in general sense in this manner. They say there can never be a civilized society unless you have an equitable distribution of wealth. And equitable distribution of wealth can only be done when you have a reasonable taxation basis in a modern society. There is no other way. आप ज़कात दे दें और उशुर दे दें, ये कर दें, वो कर दें, सदका दे दें, ये सब लोगों को बेवकूफ़ बनाने की बातें हैं. The simple logic is that is a separate thing. That's a wealth tax. But the equitable distribution of wealth can only become when you have an equitable distribution of a reasonable distribution of tax. Otherwise, there's no way. There will be concentration of wealth in one hand, but the creation of wealth is not a bad thing. Distribution of wealth, creation of wealth is different from the distribution of wealth. They are two different things. We have concentrated on one thing and left the other thing. Now coming back to the ground reality, let me give you some ground reality. Then you will understand what is the position of Pakistan taxation at the moment, and why I feel I am hopeful that we will do something. Under the Pakistan taxation law, there is a provision which is called 181AA. It says that all the industrial and commercial connection will not be given unless the person who is provided the connection is on active taxpayer list. At the moment, at present today, there are 3,41,000 industrial connections and there are 31 lakh commercial connections. And on the industrial side, 3,41,000 industrial connections means there are 3,41,000 industries, and at the moment there are only effectively 19,000 sale tax resistants. So you can imagine the level of compliance. Same is the case of commercial consumers. There are 31 lakh commercial consumers in Pakistan, and you can imagine the level of compliance in the other side. I have prepared the list of the tax collections by the major shopping centers in Lahore, 9 major markets. In Lahore, major markets, big and large shops. On average, their taxation per year was less than 1 lakh rupee per annum. Per annum. Less than 1 lakh rupee per annum. I am not saying per month, per annum.
Per shop or per market?
Per shop. You know, but what I am not saying the question. When I am saying what I am saying with the biggest problem I am facing as a chairman FBR, that I don't have very credible data from the independent sources which can help me to ask to people who are not paying that this is your position. They challenge me and they say your people are harass me and this, they do this and this. They give all kind of excuses. But unfortunately, we have not done the real groundwork on the data in taxation in Pakistan. That what is the ground reality of the taxation in Pakistan. For example, let me give you another example. That in Pakistan there is a law that every company which is registered in the company law should file tax return, whether there is a loss or no loss or no income. There are 1 lakh companies registered in Pakistan. Companies, not individuals. There are 1 lakh companies in Pakistan. Only 60,000 file returns. 40,000 are either defunct or not there, but they don't file returns. Let me give you another example. Under the Pakistan law, there is a requirement, and maybe some of you also may not be compliant, that the Pakistan law requires that everybody who has got a 500 square yard house or 1000 cc car, whether there is an income or not, he has to file the return of income. And none of that provision has ever been complied with. So the question here is not the law. We have so many laws, and we have so many provisions of laws. The question here is, and neither is the question of harassment. The question is that this was never our topic. The taxation at a broad-based level has never been a subject of the Pakistan society in general. Notwithstanding the economics, the macroeconomic issues which I am not competent to disturb, But at the moment I am only concentrating on the very basic ground realities of taxation, and that is my job actually, to get the money from the taxes from the right sources, the right places. But if you go to the deep down into the system, then you realize this culture has not brought in. And let me give you another fact, that that there are something like 5 or 6 lakh government employees. There is a withholding on government employees and the taxes are paid. But a lot of them don't file returns. Something like 50-60% they don't file returns. So the question is nothing to do with the law, nothing to do with the policy, nothing to do with it's actually a culture we have developed. And I reiterate, when we go back in the pre-70, 90 days or pre-70 days, you find that the authorities and the government had resources and the information and the basis to bring the real income taxation net. In the last 40 years, I don't know whether intentionally or unintentionally, we have destroyed the system of documentation. And once you will have no documentation, there will be no taxation. So it's a very, very uphill task to bring that kind of mentality back from that position to this position and bring the taxation into the system. In the people's mind, the taxation has to be taxation. As far as the budget is concerned, the easiest approach for us would have been to increase the sale tax from 17 to 18. हमारे लिए आसान तरीका था 17 से 18 कर देते, 18 से 19 कर देते. We have not done it. Because we don't want to, we want to decrease, we want to reduce the taxation incidence. Whenever you will have a space, we want to increase the number of the people who are in the system in the tax rate. And I would just share you one of the, I would say, joke or one of the anecdote I had in the morning. I was talking to a person, my commissioner in my jurisdiction. He said, "Sir, there are 100 factories in that area and only 10 are registered, and my commissioner is doing a very good job." And then they said, "What is a good job?" He said, "There are 100 factories making fans and the 90 are unregistered and the commissioner is working very hard." And so why are the 90 factories who are not registered? The question here is that the basis of taxation is not as we conceive, so in this process, the potential, I always say, the potential of the taxation collection in Pakistan, in my view, without disturbing too much about the Pakistan economy, is too high. But the capacity to catch that is actually a questionable subject, and we are working on that. The third approach we have adopted, we are adopting in this budget, which will be ultimately be known to the public. It may not is not known to the public at this point of time. That when you don't pay money, to you save money and you have an asset, which is your asset, but you have not disclosed the wealth. So you should have a parking lot of that asset, so where you can park that asset. And that parking lot should be legal. In Pakistan, we had created legal parking lot for untaxed money. We are gradually trying to bring those parking lot to zero. This is a very big action which people are not realizing. One of the biggest parking lot in Pakistan was properties. All of us used to buy property for 1 crore rupees and make registry for 50 lakh rupees. And our 50 lakh rupees, which was white, used to become black. This was the system, because the FBR value was never compatible to the market values. And there are a section which was called 236W, which said the remaining amount is not questionable, so you had a legal parking lot. Similar is a foreign currency account to be sent outside Pakistan, no question asked, nothing, and everything is okay. That was another parking lot. The third parking lot in Pakistan are the bearer securities. One bearer security by the name of price bond of 40,000 rupees, we have already finished by the time, and we will gradually do away with this parking lot also. So you cannot have a tax system unless you have a legalized parking lot. मेरा तो कभी इनाम नहीं निकला. जिस बंदे को हाथ डालो वो कहता नहीं मेरा इनाम निकला है. उन्होंने कहा जी टैक्स कहाँ से आया जी? इनाम निकला है. दूसरा another very important thing which happened in Pakistan कि जी पैसे कहाँ से आए जी? जी गिफ्ट आया. वो गिफ्ट किसने दिया जी? वो जानने वाले ने दिया. And it was not taxable. And and there is a definition of gifts under every law. So we have tried to curb that tendency on. So what I am just trying to highlight is that that in the last, whenever I may be here and some of us may be here in this world or not, whenever somebody will study this deeply as a student, you will find there are many things in the budget of 2019 which are fundamentally different from what was used to be in the past, and which will, in my view, change the course of history of Pakistan in the economic side. And I would give credit to the government of Imran Khan that they have taken a position on that. And you must have seen the speech of the Prime Minister in Gujranwala yesterday, that he has taken a position on CNIC and he's taken a position on other things, that yes, registration has to be done. We have no choice on that. So that's first part of it. Now coming to the second part of it. The second part of it is that we have got 21,000 people in FBR. And as like any other government department, nobody can vouch about the integrity of all the people, about the honesty, the capability and things like that. But the only difference is, I say to my people that a person may be as bad as the FBR in works department, education department, but he's not accountable because his collection is not accounted for every month. In FBR, the performance is actually managed after every hour. So his performance is actually measured on a daily basis. So his corruption or his level of corruption is known to public after every hour, because the collection is there or collection is not there. And there we have no view that there are issues and there are ways to do this, and we will try to rectify as far as possible. But for that there are two approaches. One approach is that we firstly correct the institutional corruption, where as an institution we have brought in systems which actually affect the people to do proper business. And I can give you lines of these discussions of items where we have actually this thing. For example, I will give you one example of it. Then when I became the chairman FBR on the 8th of May, on 9th of May, I issued an order that nobody's accounts should be frozen unless you bring him, talk to him and ask him that you are going to freeze his account, and then take the approval from the chairman and then do it. I am here for 3.5 months. In the last 3.5 months, only 3 applications have come. Only 3, and out of 3, 2 are government organizations. So it means that power, there is decency. If somebody has not paid it, you can call him and say, sir, you have not paid it, I am going to freeze your account, and do it. What they used to do, they used to freeze accounts and then used to blackmail things, and that was the usual form of things. So two people has come in. In Pakistan, one of the most difficult thing was to get yourself registered in the sales tax. They used to visit the premises and they used to take money, and we have now automated that. So what I was trying to say, there is one way of ending or tackling about the corruption is to handle the people. The other way is to make them irrelevant institutionally. So the system goes on its own, and they are not in the line. So nobody has got a discretionary power to abuse it, and that power is actually taken by the automated system. We are facing that difficulty in that kind of automation process, but that shows the level of problems in Pakistan. As Madam has said, Madam Ishaq has said that we have announced 2 amnesties in the last 2 years, and you can imagine the kind of untaxed wealth that in both the amnesties the amount declared, not the amount of taxes collected, the amount declared was plus 3 trillion in each case. So this is just a part of it. So you can see that the economy in Pakistan is actually running on a different tangent, and we have to bring that tangent from the course they are adopting to the other course, and that is a very difficult task, but we are trying our best. The third thing which Dr. Sulari Saab said is about the contribution by the agriculture, the provinces in the revenue collection, and I will just on that side I will only add one thing, that agriculture income tax is already levied there under the provincial law, and the collection is very pathetic and very low. That can be improved. But my personal view is that there is not very high potential in the agriculture economy as a taxation is concerned, because the economy is not as vibrant as it appears. The problem in Pakistan is, and which I have been saying in every seminar and every discussion, the problem in Pakistan is the middleman, or what you call Aarti. He is actually not under provincial subject, he is actually under my subject, because he is buying from the agriculturist and selling to the consumers. And in my personal analysis, if you take out the inflation and the higher prices and the higher margins, it is the Aarti mafia which is actually ruining this whole society. You buy from the agricultural produce at a very low price from the agriculturist and sell at a very high price in Islamabad or Pindi or Karachi, and the differential is too much, and that sector is totally out of taxation system. So there is one agricultural economy, yes, one is the business economy, and there is in between the middleman. And we have designed our systems in the manner that those middlemen are not under any system, technically speaking. For example, a person who buys in bulk the milk, the person who buys in bulk the vegetables, the person who buys the butchers, they are all earning a lot of money. If you look at their lifestyles, the kind of money they are making, the kind of the inflation they make, the kind of the profit they make is too high. But there is no one in the system or in our society. If you look at our society, taxation is an urban subject. Is it for Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, maybe Faisalabad, or organized business? But it is not a rural subject. But rural doesn't mean agriculture. There is a lot of economy in the rural also. But that is not a subject there. So that is another very important thing which I always say. And the last thing I want to say is that the biggest failure in this whole tax culture is my accounting profession. If you take out the companies, all the companies in Pakistan who are paying taxes, except a few multinationals or banks, a lot of them, the profit is equal to 1.5% because there's a minimum tax. So the profit is equal to minimum tax. So the accountings are not being done in a manner that the taxation can be actually done. And the profits are being transferred to commission agents. The company make loss, commission agent make profits, and commission agent is out of tax net. And then the owners share with the commission agent. This is a very simple business model in Pakistan. That you run a factory of sugar mill, you sell the sugar to commission agent is out of tax net, you make a loss, commission agent make a profit, you share profit with him, and both are happy. It's a very simple business model of Pakistan. So we are heading towards a very difficult exercise. But I am happy again, I reiterate, I am very happy again that the Pakistani masses and the Pakistani public at large and the intellectuals and the people who understand economics, they have not said anything wrong about our action in the budget. Those traders who are not on the tax net, they agitated. But then we sat down with them, they had no argument actually. They say CNIC ki sharat hata de bas. The only demand, every delegation I met, sir ji CNIC ki sharat hata de. Baki theek hai. Everything all right. What I am saying, the CNIC ki sharat hata de, that is not a subject so easy to be handled. But what I am trying to explain, that the people are afraid that that once they will come into the tax net, we can question their past. But we are saying let's have a good start. We will not be too anxious about the past. Let's go start in a new way. And what we have decided actually, I will just say a few words about the way we are going to do. We are going for complete, as far as possible, automation, no personal interaction. I want that you don't see any tax office in Pakistan like any other civilized society. It is all automated. And secondly, we would like that there should not be any sort of presumptive taxation. Third thing is that we are going very seriously against smuggling and the abuse of Afghan transit trade. That is seriously affecting our industry. Thirdly, we have decided to register everyone. And let me explain to you, other than the CNIC, we have another thing incorporated in the law, which is called business registration. We have incorporated under Finance Act that every person, whether it's a pan wala or chai wala, he has to have a registration. Nobody can do a business unless he has registration. This is already there under the Shop Act and something like that. We have introduced in our law. So we are going under that process, and that is being done. So my personal view is that, and I was explaining to my people today in our internal meeting, that let's forget about the past. Means that when I say let's forget about the past is when I talk to my people about the targets, they say, sir, last time itna kiya tha, is saal itna kar denge. I said that the last time is not a benchmark. But you have to see what is the economic activity going on. And that economic activity will ultimately lead to the increase in the tax base. Otherwise, with 1.9 million people, only filers, out of which 6-7 lakh are the salary filers, you cannot have this kind of taxation system in this country, and no country can survive on that system. But I am very happy to announce that yesterday the Faisalabad yarn market, which is the biggest yarn market and the processing and things which were actually resisting against the change in the system we have for the export industry. They have started accepting things, and we are going for the corrections. But it's a very uphill task, and the nation has to understand that once we have tackled the issue of the expansion, then our next step will be to handle this middleman issue. Once we have a middleman issue, then I can really assure you that we can actually curb the inflationary price. And I will give you only one example. You must have seen that atta pe hartal ho gayi. Flour mill is going on strike because some tax has been levied on atta, and they increased the prices of atta by 5 crores per kilo. There was no tax on this. There was some issue about the choker, which we have also not levied, and on the premise of choker issue, they increase the price of the atta by 5 rupees because they feel there is a good time to play around in this time. So the question what I am trying to say is that the government is very clear about its objectives, and why the government is clear about the objective is that government has not done something against the people. In that sense, in the environment we were living at, we had these were the best choices we have had in the environment. If we had the margin of lowering or increasing lowering the tax rate, we would have been the happiest person. But we had no choices on that part. But if we go on the right track, and you can see that you will see that the public at large now is understanding, and I expect institutions like SPDI to come up with the underlying theme of what we are doing. If something wrong is with us, we are ready to correct ourselves. We are ready to rectify our positions. But we all know that Pakistan as a country, with our employment level and the kind of youth we have got, we cannot embark upon this premature deindustrialization. आपको मैं एक मिसाल देता हूँ. मोबाइल मार्केट की जो हड़ताल है वो इसलिए हो रही थी कि they wanted to legalize the illegally imported mobiles. अब उनसे you want to illegally imported mobiles, you want to legalize it, fair enough. The question is that now, and that is why we are increasing our communication level with the public at large, that you people are our spokesmen, and you can explain what we are doing. If something is wrong with us, we are ready to handle it. Yes, our people may not be as efficient and as competent they are, but our future is that you will be best possible way, that you will not interact with them, and inshallah 2019 returns, we will make the returns forms so simple and the wealth tax form so simple that people will not be questioning about us. And let me end this thing. वो बड़ी मेरे पास आते हैं सारे लोग बात करने के लिए, वो कहते हैं जी टैक्स दे देंगे, वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट निकाल दें, वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट निकाल दें जी, वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट निकाल दें, बाकी टैक्स रिटर्न फाइल करा लें, हमसे वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट की शर्त निकाल दें, वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट नहीं होनी चाहिए. नहीं ठीक है जी, वेल्थ स्टेटमेंट की शर्त को आसान कर देते. बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से दैट द इशू इज डिफरेंट. द इशू इज, yes, most of the businessmen who are now running the shops and the industries, they were born or they became active who were born after 1990s, and from 1990s to 2018 we have ran a system which was no real income taxation without any effort for documentation. So the whole class is not tuned to that education. So it will take time for them to to reach to that level, but this transition has gone in many places, and inshallah in Pakistan we will achieve what our targets are. And I will just close by saying that personally, I discussed with Teresa in the past also, personally there is not a single disagreement on any suggestion on taxation measure made between us and the IMF. If they would not have asked us, we have done it ourselves. It's not a question of this is IMF budget or non IMF budget. This is a simple thing, a simple common sense that this has to be done. The local sale has to be taxed. There is no common sense. There is nothing like that. The parking lot has to be stopped. This is common sense. The property has to be adjusted. This is common sense. There is nothing unusual about it. So it is very wrong to say. And if people who have heard me in the past, I have been saying this thing for very long time. So again, I thank you SPDI, and I would suggest them to please assist us in as far as possible in disseminating our vision, mission or vision which we have got to the public at large, because you are considered to be one of the independent forum in disseminating the information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zaidi Sahab. And I completely agree with you. IMF or no IMF, FATF or no FATF, we have to document our economy. We have to go for direct taxation. अगर मैं चाहता हूँ कि मेरा ड्राइवर, मेरा खानसामा, मेरे घर में काम करने वाले बाकी लोग जो हैं उनको वो टैक्स ना देना पड़े जो कि मैं दे रहा हूँ, और अगर मेरी और उनकी आमदनी में ज़मीन आसमान का फ़र्क है, तो वी हैव टू गो फॉर डायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन. We can only reduce the prevalence of indirect taxation if we can document our economy and if we can go for direct taxation. Thanks for giving this clarity. Dr. Shamshad Akhtar has to leave for Karachi. Her flight was at 7, so she had to leave. I know we are running over time, but we'll take about 3 to 4 questions, and then of course media can talk to Shabbar Sahab separately. So if media friends can let the participants sitting over here can ask question, and then Shabbar Sahab would be here to take. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me take it in some order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any of the ladies who want to ask question in this hall? 5. जी आपसे ताल्लुक. Can you give the? मैं आपको बाद में आता हूँ. मुझे एक सीक्वेंस में आ लेने दीजिए प्लीज. आपके पास भी मैं आता हूँ.
Inequality compare in Asia. We work closely with IMF now on the tax paper. We highly appreciate government efforts on the taxation. We have been working with SDBI now and then. Only one question you didn't touch upon is the profit shifting for multinationals from Pakistan. We did a study that before US pharmaceutical companies in the last 5 years actually evaded 15 to 16 million from Pakistan. And I did an analysis of Philip policy. And last 3 years they haven't paid taxes, but they have.
If we can have silence in the hall, please.
So on this profit shifting, is any measures that FBR is taking?
Yes.
थैंक यू. अगर हम 3-4 इकट्ठे कर ले, आप फिर आराम से दे दीजिए. नंबर 2 जी इधर दीजिए माइक.
My name is Khan and I am the market head of ACC, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. I have a question regarding the IMF extended finance facility utilization. That is there any condition within which that can be used for budgetary support or to be adjusted against the fiscal deficit? And my question to Shabbar Sahab.
बैक साइड पे प्लीज खामोशी इख्तियार कीजिए प्लीज.
Shabbar Sahab, first of all, real commendation for very strong and very bold measures. What are we doing in terms of the digital tax? This is happening globally. A lot of the services through Facebook and Google are being extended to other economies. So can that be has the quantum of that economy or that income being identified to see the scope of taxation? And secondly, the services sector has grown tremendously with the GDP 50% share going to services. So what is being done at the FBR level to incentivize those services to add to the exports and contribute towards reducing the current account deficit? Thank you.
थैंक यू. ये इधर माइक आगे दीजिएगा. मैं आपके पास आऊँगा. आप आपके पास मुझे सीक्वेंस में लेंगे.
This is Mansoor Malik. I'm involved in voluntary development work. So my we have a provincial government and we have a federal government. So once we talk about public-private partnership, is there any fix business model to address all the 3 tiers of public sector, or it's just a fad for just saying it now?
ये पीछे नंबर 4. जी.
I'm Hussain. I'm a tax practitioner and a chartered accountant. I fully endorse your views on the taxation measures that you've taken, very structural measures that you've taken. But I think it's very important to build trust into the system. And for that, you need to have an independent judicial system for taxation. So what measures are you taking to make the judicial system in the FBR independent?
जी.